Hello, everybody. Successfully, I can say that we've gone live with the intro music. No mishaps there. So I'll give myself a pat on the back for that one. Thank you. This is 343 on the Sportycast YouTube channel. My name is Ziad Parker, and this is episode 150 of our podcast. I've got with me my trusted colleague, Riaz Parker. How are you doing, Riaz?
Good, man. Good. I'm very proud of you to have gotten that correct. I mean, last time we were sitting here with our pants down. So thank you for that, for not doing that again to us.
Yeah, no, we can't disappoint our producer because I know you'll check this out tomorrow, and then we get it in the notes that we messed that up. But anyway, it always makes for an interesting story, right? Something to go back to. And since the big theme for this week is the Manchester Derby, who else but Ash and Migs to join us? We are so happy to have you guys here. Welcome.
Thank
you so much for
having
having us, and congratulations on 150 episodes.
That's insane.
It's more luck than Amorim had games at United, so that's very good.
That's a lot.
I must say that's like a
Yeah,
you haven't been sacked yet. That's incredible. Well done. In
we're
this
getting some
climate,
self-sabotage
this
here.
football
early.
climate, yo.
Yeah, no,
typical,
but
man.
obviously I'm a Arsenal supporter, so we stick with our manager for a long
Okay.
time, even if the silverware doesn't come.
believe.
But we roll. So just to go through the running order for today, obviously the big one is the Manchester Derby, which we will be covering. Lots of talking points over there. Since Riaz has decided to join us, we can't let Spurs go without some coverage, so we'll talk a little bit about Thomas Frank and what's happening over there. Conor Gallagher, nice signing, in my opinion. We'll touch on the Forest Arsenal game if we have time, and then we've got the AFCON as well, with the semi-finals being played tonight. It's been a fantastic tournament. I've really enjoyed it. I've seen you guys also cover quite a bit of it as well, and it's been a really good advertisement for African football. But
Definitely.
before we get there, welcome to everybody. Just some admin, house rules, or whatever you call it. To all the people that are watching, thank you for joining us. Do please give us that like, subscribe, follow, share. You know the drill. And thank you for being with us for 150 episodes. It is a fantastic achievement and just a testament to that consistency that you do need when you are putting out content. So it's been a fantastic ride for us, and long may it continue. So enough with all the admin. Let's get straight into the juicy stuff. So big news coming out of Manchester United obviously is the appointment of Michael Carrick as the interim manager. So Mix, talk to me. How are you feeling? Are you happy with the decision to go with him over Solskjaer, who was touted as a possibility as well?
Firstly, I was not happy to lose Amorim because I felt like he was a family member that I was losing, right?
Yeah.
So I think just the sacking so quickly is not the way to go. Like you said with Arsenal, you stick with your manager, you're giving him time. Look, he's got a squad now that he's built. That's his squad. And Arsenal now are contenders for every competition that they play in. United now are starting again. And it's
all over again.
The frustration of sacking mid-season is the most annoying thing, especially because it wasn't something that was because of just bad performances. It was because of obviously him speaking out to the owners, Amorim, right? Carrick is probably the best we can get right now. So I'll take it. Let me see how he does his first two games now.
You have choice.
I probably would have taken either him or Ole. I don't think it would have made much of a difference from our side. We're just riding out the season. We have our shortest fixtures since 111 years ago. This is the shortest season we've ever had.
Yeah.
So I just want to get through it, to be honest, and then we can hopefully appoint like Luis Enrique.
I feel like we heard this last season, the season before that, the season before that.
You're catching me at a bad time for this derby. Going through a breakup.
Yeah, no, literally.
Yeah, it's rough.
Actually,
definitely, I feel like there's a holding pattern that seems to be prevalent in the club. In the last couple of years, where we've gone through the stage, right, where the manager can't get through the season and they go with the interim. It was Ralph Rangnick at one point. Oli himself came in. Carrick did a couple of games when Mourinho was let go as well. So it's like you end up being in the cycle, like you're saying. And I think with the Carrick appointment, probably the best thing for the club is that the vibes might come up a little, because that's what he kind of does. If you look at his past results, his past managerial stint with Middlesbrough as well, he came in, initially got the lift in his first season, and tailed off a little bit for various reasons. But if you are looking to just see it through to the end of the season, this might be the perfect guy to do it, because you can at least, he's not there forever, and hopefully you get the that you need to get to qualify for Europe, which I'm assuming is the number one target. Obviously, is that
it's the only target.
Literally, what is what
it's the number
else?
one, number two, number three. It's every target because it's the only one that exists.
I think the problem is that if, first of all, sacking Amorim, I'm with you on that, Migs. I'm very sad about the situation, because even though I don't support United, I loved Amorim, so I'm very sad about that situation. But sacking him when you guys were a couple of points off European champion or European UEFA Champions League positions is a bit crazy. Makes no sense.
Literally.
And that also means that, and Ziad just said now that Carrick is not a long-term solution. What happens if the man finishes fourth and they're you did such a good job, you could just stay
We
around.
did that with Ole.
Exactly.
So I don't think we'll do the same thing. But then again, here's the thing. I don't know about the managers even being the most important, in the sense that the owners have the final say and they just want to puppet.
Yeah.
We've seen now, like, as soon as you have your own ideas, or as soon as you call out the hypocrisy of those that are your bosses, and the same problems have been happening with Mourinho, with Ragnick. Also, like, a lot of the previous managers have called out the problems behind the scenes, like, because they're taking all the blame, and it's clearly not just them. So Carrick could do well, but eventually he's going to get the sack, because unless he's answering and doing everything that the guys at the top want, how long is it gonna work? That's 2.5 years is the longest amount a manager has lasted since Fergie. We can't even go for 3 years.
That's crazy.
This is crazy.
Yo. That's actually crazy.
It's the nature of the ownership, I think, and that's something that's evolving. And I saw one of your posts, if I'm not mistaken, about the American sport, which you started tapping into a little bit. And it's funny that they're bringing that across. So you can see in the clubs, for example, like Manchester United, like Chelsea, it's that American style of ownership where they don't really go long term. And there's a cycle in American sport because there's no relegation. So because there's no relegation, you can kind of go through a cycle of, we're going to rebuild, then we're going to contend, then we're going to win, and then you start the cycle again. And that just doesn't work in the football landscape, because that's not how we grew up watching football, and that's not what the history of football is. If you are the biggest club in the world, then you need to challenge. Like, if you go across, and I don't mean to make things worse for you, but if you go across to Spain and look at Real Madrid, they fired their coach, or their coach left.
Yeah.
I'm actually on your side here, I'm not, but their coach left, and they're not even in a bad position. They're second on the log. So like Ria said, Chelsea's not in a bad position on the log, neither is United. And Real Madrid are not that far off either, but they've also moved on from their manager. And it's crazy, like, what the bar has become for success, because you've got Liverpool, who won the league last year, and then half the fans are talking about slot out. You've got Arsenal being on top of the log, and there's still sections of the fan base who aren't happy or want Arteta out, or whatever the case is. And it's like, so
what more do you want?
What is happiness as a fan? Like, what are you going to enjoy? Obviously City is doing okay, but the City fans, again, the general theme is they want to do better, or they should be doing better, but they're 3 points, 6 points off the top. So, like,
but and the levels are crazy though, here, guys, because the levels are different for each club as well. Yes. So it's not like even across the board it's one thing. It's like when we last season we didn't win a trophy and we finished, it was third, It was third, yeah. That would be a dream for some clubs, to finish third, and going trophyless. It's like, okay, it's not great, but given everything that was won before, I think it was fine. But again, it's like different clubs have different, like, you can't hold United to the same standards.
You should have given a trigger warning. You can't just talk about trophyless seasons.
I'm sorry.
When it's so fresh to me that this season we're winning nothing.
There was no way you could have thought you were going to get one, though. Never. In what world? In what world?
Thought maybe the
Which
FA
trophy were you going to win?
No, Brighton.
Not even.
Maybe the Carabao Cup.
Please.
Carabao Cup.
Grimsby were like,
Grimsby.
get out of here. You done.
That will be a big what if. That will be a big what if. Okay, so coming back to the game that we are going to see over the weekend.
We lost you got that your mic cut, unfortunately. So I'll just take over from you until you get your mic sorted out. Talking about the game on the weekend. Yeah. So how do we see? I mean, United of course lost to Brighton. City doing really well, getting Semenyo. First, Ash, talk to me about the Semenyo deal. How do we feel about Semenyo? Where's he going to play? How does he kind of fit into the team?
As you can tell, I'm very excited about him. It's funny because there's some players that like you admire, but you don't actually think that your club's going to go for them. Like at the beginning of the season, I was like, this guy's great. I mean, we've had him in our FPL, we've had conversations about him, not actually thinking, come and join us, So I think it's a fantastic signing because I also think that our wingers that like currently, obviously Docker has been really good this season and he's kind of kicked it up a notch and the output is getting better from him. We're not really seeing all of that yet from Savinho, and now he's also injured. So it's like that's regardless. Like we don't even have that, And I know that we have Shirky and Foden and Bernardo you can put on the right the whole time, but it's not really their best positions, I don't think. And I think Semenyo, because he can play on the left, because he can play on the right, and he does offer something a little different than Doku, like even when he's on the left, because he can use both feet as well. So it's like, which one, which one's going for? So perhaps less predictable at times. But it's also nice to see that you can play both. You can play Doku on the left. You can have Semenyo on the right. I think that's probably what's going to happen a lot of the times. But it's also nice that you've got that kind of rotation because I know a lot of people are like, oh, why does City need him? Squad depth as well, like if you look at Arsenal's bench, it's a full 11. Like we had that a few seasons ago where you look at the bench and you're like, well, that's crazy. What do you mean? Like all those players are there. So I know a lot of people think Semenyo is going to be a bench warmer and all that kind of stuff. I don't think so. I think he's obviously off to a great start. No, not at all. So I really think I think that's a great signing. I think that's what we need as well, some creativity, someone to mix it up at times. I know we do have creative players like Shirky and like I mentioned, Docker and stuff, but he just offers a little bit more and he's clearly like he hasn't even hit his prime yet. So perhaps we can unlock even further levels.
Just after United, you can unlock.
Please, he's going to score.
He's definitely scoring. And now you can give us. You're free to give us Savinho Marmoush, right? I would appreciate that.
You can take Savinho. I'll keep Marmoush. Like that's. That's
how you like Savinho. Truthfully,
yeah.
Would you take him?
I'll take him. I'll take him on loan.
Okay.
You see, it's not a long-term commitment you made there. You're like, let's see how this goes.
Yeah, we have to. He's young still. Plus, we sold our only right wing that we have, so we need a right winger.
You're quite desperate.
Spurs.
A little bit. Ziada, you back with us? What's going on there?
I think so. Am I there?
There we go.
Okay. I had a feeling this mic was gonna do some tricks. I mean, I got the intro right, and now the mic is a problem. I can't win.
You can't win.
I'm destined to get some demerit points. But yeah, a question from Jason there is Foden to be benched over Shirky. What are your thoughts on that?
I can understand why. Why? Because also I've been quite frustrated with Foden in the past few games. He's not the only one I've been frustrated with. I'm like, Foden now. If you watch him, he's all over the pitch. Like you can see him more box to box vibes. Like he gets in the tight spaces across the field. Okay. So like he's doing that stuff. And recently, especially the last couple of games, he's just been a bit sloppy. It's really like, it's just every time he gets the ball, he loses it. Or I've found that a lot of the time he's also playing safe a lot. Like there were a lot of back passes, even in the game yesterday with Newcastle. I was like, please, guys, we
Back
can't.
pass FC.
Yeah,
Please,
the first half
we can't do
frustrated
that.
you quite a bit.
The first, I was like, what are we doing? Like, and then when Semenyo started passing back, I was like, no, it's happening again. I was like, we cannot have another Grealish situation. I was like, guys, stop that, okay? And again, I think it's just the fact that it's a very long season. Form is bound to go up and down with the players. Like, that's just something that happens. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a case of benching Foden for Shirky, especially if you want to play both Doku and Semenyo, because we know that Pep doesn't bench Bernardo Silva. He loves Bernardo Silva. Bernardo is his golden child. Okay. So he will be there as well. Obviously, it all depends on the approach as well and what you need, because something that I also think is really good is the fact that Shirky can be an impact player. And initially, when he first started with us, he was that, because he came on and literally, hello, it's in the name, impact player.
Even last night,
made an impact. But this is even prior to him starting a lot of games. So he did start a game, and then it was like, wasn't quite the same for that particular game. But then obviously, like, he's found his form because he's been starting more recently and stuff like that. But I wouldn't be mad with that choice, with picking Shirky over Foden.
And that's the thing you mentioned with the depth, right? And at the end of the day, you got so many competitions that you are in. You're going to need to rotate, and in some games, you might use Foden as a starter and then use Shirky as a finisher, and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I also know that you like that interchange on the left yesterday with Ait Nouri, Shirky, Semenyo. That was quite cool. That led to the goal. And that's the type of thing that you're going to see more in the latter part of a game, when guys are tired and there's more open play than early in the game. So by moving Semenyo to the left and pairing him with those two players, you kind of have a better impetus going forward, as you know, when he was on the right and it was Doku, because Doku wants the ball, he's going to dribble, he's not going to pass as much. So it's just different styles of play. And I think with Pep and where he is as a manager, he's more flexible. And he can tweak 100%. Things a little bit more. So looking at the way City lined up last night, for example, with that midfield, it was essentially going to be quite an open game, because it's a lot of guys going forward and then Nico O'Reilly sitting in front of the back four, right? Whereas in the Premier League, you might see Rodri obviously start, and it looks a bit different in midfield. Formation, not really too much of a thing. I think because it's so fluid and players can move, like you said, Foden was kind of all over the show. He was interchanging with Bernardo. And then you obviously have your two wingers who can interchange, and then you got Haaland through the middle. So there's a lot of options. And I think if Pep gets a grasp of what he has, he'll be able to pull those strings depending on the games and what those situations dictate. So it's quite exciting for City going forward. However, it's a bit concerning with regard to the back line. So talk to me about that.
If you had asked me a few games ago, then I would have been like, this is devastating. We are done for the season, right? Because obviously Vardiel and Diaz, it's like, are you joking? You took both of them out in one go. So that was obviously frustrating. And I've been pleasantly surprised. First of all, I think Kusanov is great. I think he is a great centre-back. And I think he just does his job. He's just there. He'll bounce anyone. He makes... like the challenges he makes are so well timed. It's cool. Sometimes you can get yellow cards here and there, but overall, I think
I like a good yellow card.
You know what I mean? It depends. So
I like a bad yellow card too.
It's entertaining. So I think he's great. And then I was very surprised by Max Elaine, because I didn't know much about him. And obviously he was recalled from Watford. And in the past couple of games, this is how I generally like to judge the performances of centre-backs. It's whether or not we're like, hey, what's the defense doing during the game? You know, because then you're like, you can clearly see someone has messed up, right? And last night's game, for example, that backline was pretty solid. And I think that's quite exciting, because you don't want to only be able to rely on, you have one centre-back pairing that is great. And then when they leave, it's like a Rodri situation. When Rodri left, the team kind of crumbled.
Hey, but the defense hasn't faced Šeško, eh?
True.
Šeško.
Man, in some serious goal-scoring form.
Yeah, 3 goals in his last 2 games.
They
shivering.
I think that's great, and
they're gonna have nightmares about Šeško. They're gonna be like, oh no.
I think this is why I get concerned for you sometimes, because I'm like, critical thinking. Where is that?
Thank you,
certainly going to be interesting.
No, but on that note, I think Max Elaine also has been really good. And I like when young players get their chance and they actually take it and they shine. So for me, it's fantastic. I enjoy it. Obviously, I don't want the team that's chasing the club I support to be doing well. But again, like I said, Kuznetsov, he's a good player. He just needs time to settle, man. And the levels, like you were saying earlier, the levels that you get judged against is crazy. But if there was an area of the pitch that United could exploit, I reckon it's going to be the back four. And like you mentioned, Cisco, he's been in some good goal-scoring form recently. You have Mbeumo coming back from the AFCON, who has played well in a United shirt almost every game. Cunha is really good. I've always liked him and his directness. And if he comes up against Nunes and those guys, you know, with the one-on-one type game, that if they can move the ball forward at pace, they could actually trouble City, as you saw Newcastle do it yesterday, using Anthony Gordon.
As soon as we put on our second striker, Maguire, City are finished. When Maguire comes on, target man.
You're like, this guy's supposed to be a defender. What's going on?
What are your centre backs going to do? Nothing. They're going to be like, what is this fridge doing?
I'll be honest. Obviously, we're still very vulnerable when it comes to the counter as well, like just in general.
Yeah, and United are known especially to capitalize on teams like that. So for United, this is actually a great game. We struggle against teams when we dominate with the ball. So against teams like City, when City are going to be in our half.
Teams.
Okay, funny.
They're not that far off. They're 7th. What are they, 6? That's not far off at all.
Oh, come on.
You know, that's the funniest thing. It's like we're making jokes and it seems like the club's in shambles and all that stuff. But if you look at the performance, like, I know Amorim wasn't winning in every single game, but like, where were they on the table?
And we've been playing with 10 players this whole season. Dallo's on our team, guys. We're literally playing a player down.
He's been playing against you.
We deserve an extra point for every game. We're basically champions. We've got Dallo. That's
With all the context, I don't think Amorim did that bad.
He didn't. Amorim is my hero.
I know. He's still like going through the most here, as you can tell.
It was tough for him, and I think even with all the performances and where they ended up, it's still weird to see the guy let go. But I think he just lost. It's just probably lost the dressing room or whatever the case is, or lost the support. I don't know. But if you look at next man up kind of thing with the squad, with Carrick, for example, now his strategy in the past has been very possession based. So I agree with you that United are probably more suited to playing with less of the ball and hitting teams on the counter because of the pace they have up front. And if you look at the way Cunha played at Wolves, if you look at the way Mbeumo played at Brentford, they were used to getting the ball long and quickly and then making something happen as opposed to working through all these short passes and trying to get that. But on the flip side, Pep, who normally also wants to dictate the game and hold possession, has been very comfortable this season in giving the ball to the opposition, which has been a refreshing change from the way City play and watching them, because they're not just going to pass you to death. They're actually going to hit you with a quick counter that you don't see coming, because they're getting the ball to Doku as quickly as possible, and then he does his thing. So there is a bit of where both teams might want to actually counter, but one team's going to end up with the ball, and we're going to see if that team can make use of the ball well. And I have a feeling United are actually going to have a lot more possession than we expect in this game.
I wouldn't be surprised, especially now that our midfield has an extra player. So we don't have just two midfielders. We've got that. The system's gone. So now we're winning everything, right? So we've got 3 midfielders. Changes everything. So now, of course, I do think we can, especially at Old Trafford, have more of the ball, definitely. I think in a game like this, though, Carrick is going to want to make a statement and is going to want to show that he's not there to just sit back. He's going to go for the win. And I think you're right that they're going to push, try keep the ball, try be attacking majority of the game, if they can, use that as their best form of defense and avoid the ball being as close to our box as possible. So we've been
whether or not you can execute that will be a different story.
This season, we've been the team that has created some of the most chances and had the most shots and one of the most goals as well.
Yes.
So we inevitably will have a lot of chances against you. And I think it will be a very entertaining game.
Oh, it's always entertaining.
But with all those chances,
form goes out though. Form goes out the window sometimes.
You have to beat Donnarumma, and that guy just takes up the entire goal. Like it's so difficult to beat.
Crazy.
It's a cheat code. That's why Pep is smart. He's like, my defense is cuck. Let me get a good goalkeeper. I can just
funny enough, I was actually impressed with Trafford as well last night. I thought he had a good game.
Right.
And it's a pity that he's the number 2. Because with the World Cup coming up, I thought he had a decent chance of putting his hand up. But it is what it is. You sign your contracts, you cash your checks.
Is he also maybe available for loan? Anybody, Trafford?
Listen, you relax.
Hands off.
You enjoy whatever your goalkeeper's name is. Some Italian fellow. Vicario, right? He's decent actually.
Oh no.
It's tough.
Shame it is. You're struggling.
Take Trafford on the...
Speaking of Trafford, the last time Man City played at Old Trafford, the score was 0-0. So do we expect a similar scoreline? Riaz, I'll start with you. What do you think in terms of a prediction for this one?
I am now fueled with hatred, obviously. But I'm obviously fueled with hatred because like I said earlier, I really liked Ruben. So I really want United to lose a lot in the next couple of weeks specifically. And I really don't like the fact that Benjamin is scoring goals. It really annoys me as well. So I'm going to go with City 3-1. I'm going to give a goal to Mbeumo. Mbeumo's really good. I like him. So I think, and City have it in him to concede, like Newcastle should have scored last night. So I'll give United a goal, especially because it's at Old Trafford. And yeah, I think City will have too much firepower. Chirk is a cheat code. He's amazing. I mean, the pockets he picks up and he's just
so exciting.
It's amazing to watch. Honestly,
I can't see another 0-0 happening.
It's not going to be 0-0. No.
Yeah, same.
But you don't want it to be a case of like running away with the scoreline either.
We've experienced that too many times.
6-3. That's why I think Foden might start, actually, is because Foden and Haaland against United, it's just like they really rub their hands in that change room and they get ready. So it might be a case of just...
There's Champions League afterwards, right?
Yeah, so just bench your whole first team. Do the right thing.
No, we can't because our Premier League form has not been great. Okay? So, like, we've literally... How many draws has it been in a row? 3?
3 draws, yeah.
Same as us. You know what? This is some brutal honesty. I'm actually okay with whatever result because of where the club is right now. I don't expect United to get the win with the new manager at this point. And if we do lose, what's the worst? That there's more of an exciting title race, you know? Like, okay. I mean, we know as United fans, the teams above us are also going to drop more points. It's inevitable. Everyone's so like up and down. So if we lose this game, we'll beat Arsenal next game week, you know? Make it exciting.
There we go.
There we go. But speaking of, so let me just get a score prediction from you quickly before we get into that. We get you on record.
I'm saying 2-1 to City.
2-1 to City.
Yeah.
Before my delusion kicks in, I'm gonna stick to a draw. A 2-2 draw. This is what I'm feeling. Yeah, 2-2. I feel it in my soul.
But you're cool with losing.
But I'm not cool with losing because it sucks. I don't want you to have the bragging rights. But if we do, it's not
like
it's not the worst loss, you know. There's like I'm already looking at this possible silver linings.
I like that.
So optimistic.
I'm gonna wait for the halftime reaction. That the 3-1 halftime reaction. That Migs is gonna be destroyed there.
He's gonna be like, I'm done. I'm done with this team. It's enough. You removed the manager I love the most, and now you lose to City. You're done.
It's actually a cool place to be as a fan because you don't expect to win. So if you win, it's like amazing.
If you draw, it's like, okay, we managed to get points off them. And if you lose, it's like, well, we sacked our manager. We're on our third manager in the past 3 weeks.
There's an answer
what did you expect?
for all those results. Yeah.
You're pretty much kind of in a nice space as a fan. So good going with the draw. I was also leaning towards the draw. It suits Arsenal for City to drop points, but Riaz is going to kick me off the fence. So I'm going to have to go as well with the 2-1 scoreline's a bit safe. I like Riaz's risky 3-1. And I saw in the comments we have someone planning to triple captain Haaland, so maybe 3-1 does support that a bit more. That's
but he likes to score against United.
But he's also tired.
These are the type of risks you need to take to win the FPL, right? To win your league. People triple captain random players at random times. So listen, I'm all for taking risks.
Let's do it. All of us.
Do it.
Let's shake on it.
Yes, do it.
You do it first. Don't tell other people to do it. You do it.
Let's all sell
Let's see how it goes.
I've seen some crazy things on FPL, man. It's weird. But coming back to a point you made earlier about the league being so up and down, let me just get your take on this, right? Because we've had people say that the league is not good because all the teams are close in terms of their points. And then you have people that saying, well, the league's more competitive, so it's better. You have Aston Villa in third, who they've actually outperformed all the underlying stats, so you can expect some regression from them. But they've been clinical, like you were saying, United create a lot of goals. They just haven't put them away. It's the opposite for Aston Villa, where they've literally put away everything that they've managed to create. And even the half chances they've somehow taken, obviously led by Morgan Rogers. So if you look at the league as a whole, how do you feel about this debate? Is the league weak, or is it better off by being so competitive?
It's 100% better off because you don't know who is going to... Anyone can win at any time.
How exciting.
You can even have
you can draw to Wolves in their worst season ever.
There's literally 3 teams to draw to.
But it's just an example.
That was a terrible example.
Even though they're not a team I would think of as being competitive.
You see, United can draw to Wolves. Good example.
Yeah.
I'll take that back.
So the big teams can draw to the small teams. And I just think it's really exciting because also you kind of, why would you want it to people? But this is just interesting about people. You're either going to complain it's a farmers league, or you're going to complain that all the teams are doing too well. Like, which one is it? Which one is it? Okay. And I think it's so exciting. I think the fact that you can have, the other day, Fulham against Chelsea, you can have that. Yeah. You can have Fulham beating them, or Brentford.
Fulham, Liverpool, what a game that was. Well.
Exactly. Yes. So I think that is so exciting to not know which team is going to show up. And the fact that anyone can beat anyone means you can never underestimate anyone. You can never underestimate, going into a game, there's no manager that's going to look at a team and be like, okay, well, it's Wolves. They're at the bottom. Even if the stats and everything is there's no way they should beat you, there's a chance that could happen. And I think that's exciting.
The only time I don't like it is when there's a team that runs away with the title. That's why I'm also kind of okay with losing at this time. I'm never okay with losing to City, but I think if it's a 3-point difference title race, it's just going to be so entertaining. You guys are going to be so nervous. It's going to be great as a neutral, I was hoping Villa would do something, but
Villa they play really good football. It's just can they sustain it now? That's what we're going to have to see in the second half of the season. When things ramp up, the intensity ramps up, you start playing in more high-pressure games. Can you sustain the levels that you had early on in the season? So it'll be interesting to see. I do agree with you all. I like that the league is so open. And for me, the biggest difference is that it's not that teams are playing bad and then they're losing or they're drawing with the team. That team's actually doing something of high quality. When I mentioned that Fulham Liverpool game, for example, that goal from Harrison Reed was top draw. It wasn't that someone slipped and then did a back pass and then the guy tapped it in. It was literally quality from a guy who played 8 minutes of football. We're talking about when you watch Wolves play. That kid from Wolves, Matthias Mane, he's so good. And he's playing for the worst team in the league. So I do quite like it. And if there is one team though, other than Wolves, who we know are probably not going to win a game when they go out to play at East first, unfortunately.
I
saw you putting your hand up there because you knew where I was going with
He
this.
was just like, I'm gonna catch it already.
This is the worst
So-
season for Spurs fans, eh?
That's crazy.
It's a tough one, and I just want to bring us to Spurs quickly. We won't spend too much time on it, but
Thank you.
with Spurs,
appreciate that.
I think in Spurs defense, this is what I wanted to bring up the point.
now you defend
With a
us.
lot
Do they
of
have a
other
defense?
managers,
Sorry, do they have a
well,
defense?
they don't have a defense on the field, but they might need one
No,
off the field. I like Mickey van der Ven though, but
Yeah.
with Spurs, right, and the change in managers, right? You went from Ange to Frank, and we see with United going from Amorim to a little bit of Fletcher now to Carrick, and then you have Nottingham Forest, for example, who went from Nuno to Ange to Sean Dyche. The players struggle with the extreme changes in philosophy, and if you look at how Ange played at Spurs versus how Frank has tried to play, it's a very different system for the players to get, and that's why I think Spurs have struggled because the ownership haven't matched the players that they have to the style of manager that they need. And that seems to be a big issue. But just going through his record quickly, 7 wins, 6 draws, 8 losses. The biggest challenge has been the ability to create goals. Spurs have just struggled to create goals. So coming in, they have a similar XG to West Ham, who was sitting 18th in the Premier League. So if you consider all that, I'm not going to be all doom and gloom here. I'm going to give you something positive to spin it with here. Talk to me about Conor Gallagher and whether or not the signing can be a catalyst for the team.
Conor Gallagher. I don't know where to go with this because you seem so positive, but I'm not at all positive. Yeah. So the thing is that, I mean, it's the same players, right? But like you said, the system is different. But the same players scored however many. I mean, we scored plenty of goals last season. We conceded a lot more as well, but we were able to score goals. So we know the players themselves can score if they need to. So the system issue, like, how long is enough time? That's the thing. You make a good point where it's similar to what happened at Chelsea. Maresca wanted a central defender. They didn't give it to him. It fell off a cliff. He argued against the people. United, everybody's blaming the 3-4-3. Amorim needed a centre mid. They didn't give it to him.
And it was like with Madrid also. Xabi Alonso was saying if they had given him Zubimendi or someone similar, it could have made a difference to how he wanted to play football. So maybe you just need that one player who can bring to life what the manager wants to do. And I like Conor Gallagher. I thought he was pretty good before he got shipped up to Atletico Madrid. And with a World Cup year coming, the motivation is right. He's going to want to perform to get into that squad. So things are lining up well for Spurs in theory. But we'll have to see if it actually...
The problem is that he's not the profile player that we need. We now, because we don't know what Frank wants to do. Because we can't at the moment pass the ball forward.
I think Frank needs to call Keith Andrews and ask him, listen, how are you doing this, man?
Set piece coach, yeah, he does need some advice from his set piece coach, because
that's the worst, eh? Your set piece coach doing better than you.
Yeah,
crazy.
with worse players, with worse squad, which is ridiculous. Wow. I mean, yeah, we can't pass the ball forward at the moment. Conor Gallagher is a great player. I love Conor Gallagher. I can't state that enough. I think he's gonna be better, make the team better overall. I think just by the way, his energy and just his demeanor around the pitch and off the pitch is going to make us better. However, he's not the player that we need. We're speaking about our lack of goal scoring and chance creation. It's not really going to improve us that much in that regard, which is unfortunately what we need. Sell Brennan Johnson without a replacement. Now Kudus is injured. They have no right wing. So there's a serious situation, especially in chance creation in the team. And unfortunately, Frank doesn't seem to know what to do to kind of remedy that. The owners don't want to give him help either. I mean, Savinho, we were talking about in the summer, he still hasn't come. So it's a bit difficult, you know. I'm not sure where to go. Frank has until the end of the season, in my eyes, to get us in the top 10. I'll take that. I'll take the top 10.
Will he last that long? Do you think?
He's outlasted Xabi Alonso. He's outlasted Amorim and Maresca.
Okay, yeah.
He's the chosen one.
I don't know, because this year seems to be the year of sacking. Like sometimes it's not even enough days in between.
So the thing, Frank,
please.
The thing Frank has going for him in his favor in terms of not losing his job is, firstly, it's expensive to fire a manager, and Spurs have spent a lot of money on managers who are not currently managing them. Secondly, Daniel Levy was out, so there's a big gap in the board in terms of decision making. They haven't replaced that properly. They've got the former Arsenal CEO, if I'm not mistaken, Vinay Venkatesham. I think he's in there, but they haven't figured out the structure above yet. And then Paratici, who's the director of football, is on his way out as well. So all those things mean that Frank is okay, because they're not going to pay him out now, and then they're probably going to give him till the end of the season to see, and then move on, because after the World Cup there'll be better coaches to choose from. So there's some buzz online about them waiting for the US men's national team to crash out and Pochettino to be the savior and return home. There's a lot of talk about that. The interesting thing when it comes to interim is that Ryan Mason left West Bromwich Albion in the last week. So if Spurs want to do it, you might go back to someone who had a pretty good interim run at the club.
Was he not there twice already?
He's done it quite a year.
Done it twice, yeah.
Exactly. So, they have options, but like you're saying, Riaz, I think he has till the end of the season. So, Ash and Migs, just from your point of view as neutrals, Spurs are out of the FA Cup, they're out of the Carabao Cup, but they are in a decent position in the Champions League. And they, with a run, like you mentioned, with the league being so tight, with a run of 6-7 games, they could vault themselves up into the European spots. Do you see them being able to make their way up the table?
You know those when you're playing tennis and you have those machines where they put the balls in and then they go poof, poof.
Yeah.
Spurs don't have that. So at the moment, even in the Champions League, they'll be pressing. It's like there's they don't have, and I actually feel bad for them. I'm not gonna lie, because Spurs is not a team that I hate. I think they've got great players. I felt bad for them last season when they were like down there. And I thought that Frank coming in, it would be a positive thing, to be different from Ange. And I think you have to give until the end of the season. Everything you've just explained, it makes complete sense. Like this chopping and changing. How do you, And also the thing is, everything like you mentioned, like with the board and people moving, there's so many moving parts that are moving at the same time as the fact that they have to play and get results. Because as much as all that stuff is happening, they still have to find a way to get it over the line. And I mean, obviously, it's been a bit difficult. I'd like to hope that things will change for them.
I think it will get better. And I actually also do think that Gallagher does make a difference for you going forward, because what he does is he frees up the players in front of him to be more creative and take that defensive responsibility off of them, where they can look for those more risky kind of passes, and players can be ready for those runs and not get so tired that they have to track back all the time, because Gallagher will be that guy that's going to run that midfield finish. Like he's an energizer bunny. So I do think that will give you guys some more opportunity to create chances. Then whether or not you take them, that's up to Richarlison. We'll see.
Richarlison. They need Solanke back, I reckon. They need him. But yeah, that Spurs, I think Spurs will be okay. I like the players. They're just figuring out who goes where. And then Romero's been a bit disappointing this season with his leadership. So experienced player like Gallagher, maybe coming from a Diego Simeone environment, can instill some standards into the group. And that's ultimately what you need to turn things around, just being held accountable, which seems to be a bit of an issue in the team. We know when Frank was at Brentford, he had guys like Norgard to keep the standards up. And most teams that do well, they have a leader on the field who backs up, whatever the manager does. So Riaz, we'll put a pin in Spurs and we'll watch that, as we go along. But I still have you guys for 10 minutes. I know you're off to do some content. So before I do release you into the wild, I want to touch on the AFCON and just come to that because we've got the semi-finals today. Senegal versus Egypt, which already kicked off. It's about probably reaching halftime. I'll just pull up the score as we're talking. And then later on this evening, we have Morocco taking on Nigeria in a tournament that's been really good so far. And the 4 teams that have made it to this point have basically been the 4 best teams. If you look at the goal scoring charts, if you look at the clean sheets, all the stats, everything, these are the 4 best teams in terms of performance, probabilities, and so on. We have in the first game, it's 0-0 currently going into halftime. We have the Sadio Mane versus Mohamed Salah semi-final. Senegal did struggle a bit coming in. They weren't as fluid, as I'd like them to have been. They were my pre-tournament favorites. I just like their squad, the 11. It's pretty good. Egypt have been really good. It's insane the talent they have. And then Egypt, Salah, Mamouche, obviously your Man City player. They have a couple of good guys through the spine of that team. So what do you think about this game? Senegal, Egypt, who do you lean towards?
Egypt, I think at this point, they're getting better as the tournament progresses. They're peaking at a good time. So based on how the tournament is panning out, they actually have a really good opportunity. On paper, I think we can all agree Senegal have probably the best squad at AFCON alongside Nigeria in terms of the players' experience. That squad is great. We also said we had a feeling they would be in the final, like before the tournament started. It's just whether or not they can link well together. So that's why I also think they've been a bit inconsistent in the tournament, where you just see them making silly mistakes. They're maybe not on the same wavelength all the time. But I just think maybe that's the inexperience as a squad together. That squad, Senegal are going to be a great team for the next years. I really think they're going to put Africa on the map even more.
And you said that you think they're going to get the win. I said Egypt.
But Egypt definitely can. But I think Senegal, based on their squad and the players they have, I pick them to win.
We were actually chatting about whether or not the plot around Salah and him having never won an AFCON and Jamie Carragher yappa-ring and all that kind of stuff. Like,
if that's gonna,
the thing is, you just never know whose story it's going to be. Like, who needs this story right now? Is it Morocco with being a host nation, that kind of stuff? Do Nigeria need it because they're not going to the World Cup? So they've been giving absolutely everything within this tournament. Or like you said, Senegal stacked squad, or the Mo Salah thing. And I know it's not just him, but sometimes these subplots do come into play. And we were very upset with Egypt when that game with South Africa is done with you. But if you take the emotion out of it, I was like, okay, I think Egypt could get it across the line. If they can get a goal, they also just wait, and then they get that ball to Salah and then, off he goes, or Marmouche, whatever that is. So if it continues like this 0-0, obviously we haven't watched the game, but if they get a goal in the second half, they're just going to try and hold on to that, to the end, because they did pretty well with that against us as well. I mean, it was 10 men. So I think they did really well in those situations. So I'm leaning more towards Egypt.
Yeah, and it's like both teams, the longer it stays 0-0, you think, and it was like that for Senegal as well. The longer it stayed 0-0, the better their chances are of winning, because if they nick that goal, they're not going to give up, in the other direction. Same with Egypt. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that game. But they are Senegal, Egypt. Who are you rooting for or leaning towards?
Yeah, first goal is important, of course. Like we just said now, first goal is very important. I'm going to go Senegal. Because
nice.
I'm salty. I can't keep the emotion out of it, Ash. I can't. I'm salty.
You gotta. That's what makes tournament football so much fun, because you have your own reasons. It's not a team that you generally support, but you have your reasons for following a team. And for me, it's just that group of players for Senegal. I feel like it's their golden generation. You go through Koulibaly, you got the West Ham left back, Diouf. He's been playing really well. You got Idrissa Gana Gueye, who's been like the ultimate midfielder this tournament. He's top of all the passing charts, all the stats. He's just been the guy. And then Papi's guy next to him scored the goals. They got him there. They got Iliman and Dai, who I think is one of the better players.
He's great.
For Everton are missing him. He's so good. Like the way
top.
I think he's going to still explode in the Premier League. And then you've got the redemption arc of Nico Jackson. can he kick the ball into the goal or is he going to kick over? And then obviously Sadio
one of the
Mane to
best
lead.
goalkeepers as well.
Yes, Edouard Mendy.
Like people
Koulibaly
forget how
with the
good he
red
is.
cards. Yeah, no, so
Yeah.
Senegal for me. I hope they get to the final. But whichever team gets to the final are going to be up against it because all the odds, all the stats models, all the probabilities lean towards the winner of AFCON coming from the tie between the host Morocco and Nigeria. And like you mentioned, Morocco got the host narrative around them. Nigeria missed out on the World Cup. And Nigeria have been firing on all cylinders. Their attack is cooking. Lookman has the most goal involvements in this tournament. Osimhen is fighting with him because he didn't pass and he wanted a hat trick. Osimhen is scoring goals. You've got just tons of things happening in Nigeria, and they just move the ball so quickly and so fluid that it's hard to stop them when they get rolling.
Not qualifying for the World Cup was a big thing. It's
big incentive.
It's like even for us to think of a World Cup without Nigeria, like you want to see them there, So them not being there definitely gives them a lot of added motivation to just remind people, hey, don't forget about us.
I'm sorry we messed up there, but here's a trophy, kind of thing,
Yeah, definitely it keeps the fans distracted. And then obviously you got the host Morocco. If anything can stop Nigeria, it would be that 12th man who seems to come from the crowd and a little bit from the officiating.
I was
if
going
we're
to
honest,
say
we all saw that game against Tanzania, which was
questionable.
I don't even think VAR can save those guys, but it's just how it goes when you have home ground advantage. For us that follow African football and South African football for that matter, we know how much the refereeing comes into play, and not in a good way, unfortunately. In terms of affecting results. But taking that away, Morocco has been pretty good. They got Brahim Diaz, who's the leading scorer, if I'm not mistaken, just in terms of goals. He's been playing really well. Hakimi, obviously, African Player of the Year in the last cycle. They've got a good team who did well in the World Cup in the past and are kind of probably in their last hurrah as a group because guys are going to age out, especially like the goalkeeper and a couple of other players. So they have a lot to fight for here to get through to beat Nigeria. And I honestly think it can go either way. I'm finding it hard to pick a winner. I don't know about you guys.
We're the same. We were also like
we did
pick. I honestly think Nigeria are going to win, but with that factor of the 12th man and the 13th man, just all the added support and potential controversy, Morocco, it's so easy for them to it's so you can't write them off, basically. You cannot.
Yeah.
So I think it's like written for them to win this tournament. It's like pre-written.
That's what I'm saying about
probably in the contract to host.
Yeah, allegedly. But it's like we said with Nigeria as well, there's a story. So it's just, I do think that either one of those teams are going to win. I said Nigeria. I think this would be the first upset of the tournament to knock the hosts out. Because like you said, the 4 best teams for the tournament are sitting here right now. So we haven't seen too many surprises at all, really. So I picked Nigeria. So we'll see how that goes.
Riaz, Nigeria or Morocco?
Yeah, I'm with Ash. I'm going Nigeria as well, just because I just think like a Nigeria Senegal final has like a
as well.
That would be nice.
That could be a good game. The thing that I also like about AFCON, especially this edition, is that it's put Africa on the map and kind of highlighted the amount of talented players we have going into the World Cup. And with the expanded World Cup, a lot of the African talent is going to be showcased, which is fantastic. And I'm pretty hopeful that there's going to be a couple of deep runs with the groups, that are going to go out there. I think Ghana in the World Cup, if I'm not mistaken, they missed out on AFCON. But they could also do really well on that stage. But Ivory Coast, you've got Senegal, Egypt, so it's quite exciting. South Africa, obviously, let's not forget Lyle Foster. He held his own. He's in there in the top 3 or 4. We just need to be a bit more clinical, and we could actually do something because South Africa plays some really good football. So there's a lot to look forward to as a fan of African football, and for us coming from the continent as well. to represent us on the world stage. It would be quite good. And I think I've done a really good job for the time, because that brings us to the end of the episode. I know we got that hard stop, so I think I'm doing quite well. Riaz, you can take notes on how to do this next time. So just to wrap around, Ash and Migs, do you have anything you want to plug before we wrap up?
Nothing in particular.
No,
just
not at the moment.
Thank you for having us and for the chat. And
we love to collaborate, so
yes.
we're always like really appreciative that you guys reach out to us to have these conversations, because also like from myself, like I learned so much from you guys also just within the conversation, so it's always cool to
especially
to
with fans of other teams where we don't know as much, like a lot of the stuff you're saying about Spurs. It's also interesting for us as well to see from your perspective the struggles.
No,
I
appreciate you. I mean, it's been an honor for us to have you guys on. And
it's always a lot of fun.
As always, support each other as we go along. And I'm a big fan of your singing, so you can catch me in the comments on those videos. I'm all in.
Thank you very much.
But it's been fun to collaborate for sure, and we probably hopefully do a lot more as we go forward. But for those who don't know, you can catch Ash and Migs on the Manchester Derby on most of the platforms, but mostly you'll get them on TikTok and Instagram. Riaz, anything you want to put out there into the world as the NFL fantasy champion?
Oh, thank you. That's a lovely introduction or conclusion. I tweeted this week. That's always good.
Oh, congrats. I saw actually. I even replied to it because I was like, wow, what's going on here? Is it going to snow? But
that's about it. But thank you guys so much, Migs and Ash. Always lovely to speak to you guys. Genuinely amazing people to have a conversation with. And follow the channel. Don't forget Sportycast on all social platforms. Yeah, does an amazing job to kind of operate our Twitter account. So much news that I don't even know that he just comes up with it on the daily. So make sure you guys follow us on there, and thank you guys for joining us once again.
Yeah, no, I like all sport. I'm big in sports. So the American sport is boosting at the moment. The NFL playoffs, you've got coaches being fired left, right, and center in the league. So a lot to watch there. The NBA trade deadlines coming up. The PJ Tour golf starts tomorrow. That's why Jason is away studying who's teeing off tomorrow morning and what the groups are going to be. There's cricket coming up. T20 World Cup is not too far away. Hopefully I'll be doing some coverage on that. But yeah, for me, the only thing I would say is that I'm on the radio on the weekends, Talk 100.3. It's a station in the UAE. I do post the link. So we cover 1 to 2 Premier League games per day. Do the halftime show, do the previews, post-match, whatever the case is. So check it out, support us, and we will see you again next week. Enjoy the derby. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thank you.